So what did we learn this month? Well, what we learned is that I should really listen to you guys when you tell me to pick up a book. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is Saturday the 4th of February and I thought I would come in and open this vlog properly because I have got one book I've finished, one book I've DNF'd and one book that I've hauled, so it's already been quite the busy month. And I've also got my first ever Patreon parcel to open, so I thought I would come in and say hello. Like I said, today is Saturday. It's been a very weird week. Wednesday, which was the 1st of February, I was on strike as part of the NEU teachers strike. And it was a very weird day because, as you can probably still hear in my voice, I'm still not quite over the virus that I had in January, and I'll link my January wrap up if you want to see what all of that was about. But because I still wasn't quite right, I didn't go and join any picket lines or like protests and groups of people because it just didn't seem like a very good idea. So I was at home that day. Most of it I spent marking, which is the irony of that. But it was a very odd day. I will be also joining the strike on the 2nd of March, and I think that time I will go and join a protest or a picket line or something, because I think I will feel less weird when I'm surrounded by other people. So it's been a strange old week. We've got one more week of term left before the February half term, which is a week's holiday, and I'm definitely feeling it. I'm feeling very, very tired and very drained. But we've had a nice morning this morning. Gary and I have been into Wells for breakfast or brunch. We had a nice little mooch around the town, which I don't think I filmed anything of. Popped into Waterstones and had a little browse there, didn't buy anything. And now we're just going to have a nice lazy afternoon. Kind of could just curl up together on the sofa and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I thought I would just open the vlog before I turn back into a slug person in my hoodie, although nothing wrong with that, and just talk you through 3 books that have already kicked off my reading month. So first of all, the book that I finished it last night, is Stay Awake by Megan Golden. This was very kindly sent to me last month by someone. Lisa, lovely Lisa, sent this to me from my wishlist, so thank you again, Lisa. I really enjoyed it. Well, I gave this a 3.5. I enjoyed this. I saw this via Brianna at Four Paws and a Book when she was talking about, was at the end of last year, I think it's thrillers that she wants to read or something. I saw her talking about it anyway. And we are following Liv, who wakes up in a taxi, and written on her hands and up her arms are loads of words and different instructions, but the main thing that's written over and over again is stay awake. And she doesn't remember how she ended up in the taxi, but she asked the taxi driver to take her to her apartment. But when she gets there, instead of her housemate being there, her flatmate being there, there's a couple who have lived there for the last couple of years, and they have no idea why she's trying to get into their apartment. And it kind of goes from there. I don't really want to say too much more about the plot, but Liv also finds out very quickly that she's carrying a knife that's covered in blood, and there's a man who keeps phoning her and saying, where's the knife, and it kind of goes from there. This was fun. It was fast paced. It's one of those books that if I hadn't been at work I would have easily read in a day. I feel like it's the kind of thing that I would like take on holiday and leave by the pool for the next person. There was some elements of this, because Liv is having memory issues, there were parts of it that felt really repetitive, and also she makes some really annoying decisions. Like, there's a couple of points in the book where she could find out what's going on, and instead of sitting and waiting for that person to come and tell her, she decides to run off. And it's like, no, but you could get all the information if you need if you just stay where you are. So that was kind of bugging me, and I didn't love the ending. Like, conversely, felt really info dumpy. So I gave it a 3.5. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I've read it. If you're looking for like a fairly easy, fast-paced thriller, I would definitely recommend it. Although I do also feel like it's going to be kind of a read it once and be done with it. But yeah, that was the start of the reading month, and it was a 3.5, so it was a perfectly good rating. I'll also put in the description, because by the time this video is up, my How I Rate Books will be up, and this is a perfect example for me of a 3.5-star book. So yes, good start to the month, nice and easy, quick read, and it's also the 4th of the month and I've got a book finished, so that feels good. Then I DNF'd a book. I'm very sad that I've DNF'd this book because I read another book by this author before and I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely loved it, and this particular book is so pretty, but I got 50 or 60 pages in and I just didn't care. Oh, I've got hiccups now. I just didn't care. And I tried to read it again this morning and I was just like, I'm just not feeling this. So yeah, that book is Winterwood by Shia Earnshaw, and the lovely Chloe sent me her copy when she was unhauling it a while ago. So thank you for sending this to me, Chloe. I'm glad I tried to read it, but I feel like maybe, I need to take this out, it's got the lovely, she's so cute, just because, the lovely, yes, I just hit myself in the face with it, book, postcard that she put in there. Let's take it out. Yeah, I didn't care. It felt like all vibes, no substance, and I just wasn't that interested in it. But it is very pretty, and look at that. I mean, it's adorable. Sorry for the angle change. I sneezed. So I just had to pause to sort myself out. But yes, this was very pretty, but I just wasn't connecting with the writing at all. I didn't care about the characters or what was going on, and so it had to be a DNF for me. So yeah, I'm sad about it because it's pretty, but I also have loads of other books that I want to read. So yeah, that was a DNF. And then I had a pre-order come in that I'd completely forgotten about, but I'm very excited it's here, because that book is Rainbow Grey Battle for the Skies, by Laura Ellen Anderson. It's got beautiful purple sprayed edges. I have seen some with like rainbow sprayed edges, which are very pretty too, but these are nice. And this is the 3rd and final book in the Rainbow Grey trilogy. I really enjoy these. I think they're really fun. I love the kind of inclusive messages, and I'm excited to see where this goes. And this will be my term 4 school read, because I always have a book that I'm reading at school during a term. So this will be the one for next term. So yeah, I'm very excited that that arrived. And then talking about exciting arrivals, I've also had my first ever Patreon parcel arrive from Little Bookish Company. So at the end of last year, the lovely Lauren from Little Bookish Company, who I've had loads and loads of candles from before, announced that she was relaunching her Patreon. And I have never joined a Patreon because for Booktube there are so many of my friends and creators that I would love to support. I just can't afford to do it for everybody, and so I don't do it for anyone because it just feels a bit unfair to do it for one and not for everyone. And also in terms of like time, I don't have time to do everything that all of my amazing friends and creators do for their Patreons. I'm like watching films and TV shows and doing read-alongs and all that stuff. I just don't have the capacity for it, so I don't do it at all for Booktube. But when Lauren was saying that she was relaunching her Patreon for her candle company, I was like, yes. So I joined the candle tier. I can't remember what it's called. I'll link her website in the description. She does have an Etsy, but she's just recently launched her own website, so she's wanting all orders to go through her actual website rather than the Etsy. So I'll link that below. And I've completely forgotten what the perks are. I've forgotten what is even going to be in this box because my memory is rubbish. But this is the January box. I'm trying to show it without my address on. My address is there. So if we do this. So yeah, I've had this arrive, and I thought we'd open it together. As you can see, I've like undone it, but I haven't actually opened it. So let's open this up without putting my address on the internet and see what we've got. Oh, it's so cute. Look at this. I mean, I knew the presentation would be incredible because how the parcels always are whenever I order stuff. Oh, this is so cute. Okay, so we've got a little Mawa in cola flavour, which we know is the best one. And then this is so cute. And she's done this really lovely, like, hello and happy January letter. This did come slightly late because she had problems with wax and stuff coming. So I'm excited to see what we get, because I know that we get the candle scent is exclusive, so it's not one that she sells. So what else have we got in here? Oh, I've got a little Frutella sticks, and then this is the actual candle, and then the rest I think is just packing chips. Yes. Okay, so let's see what we've got, because I'm deliberately, like, you can probably see it there, but I'm deliberately not looking. Let's see what this scent is. Ooh, winter reading. Oh, appleberry spice. I can smell it already. Yes, I can tell this is a candle I'm going to love already. Oh, I'm going to have to ration the burning of this. because I'm going to be sad. I can already tell that I'll be sad when this is gone. So that's what the label looks like. If I hide my face, will it focus? Probably not. And then also you've got the glitter in there. That's so good. So yes, I am 100% going to burn that today. So you'll probably see in my next load of B-roll, you'll probably see me burning that. I'm very, very excited and happy for that. And also we should get the February box this month as well. So you might see me unbox that before the end of this vlog. So yeah, I am going to go and get all my book stuff sorted out. I need to, we bought like cake and flowers while we were in town. So I need to go and sort all of that out. Get in my pyjamas, get on the sofa. I need to start a new book. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of curl up and read this afternoon and relax and just have a nice cozy weekend with my husband. It's the 11th of February and we're on half term. We made it, people. We made it to the first holiday of the year. Obviously the calendar year, not the academic. But anyway, I literally made it to half term on my hands and knees pretty much. It's just this, I think I say this every time, but I feel like the term 3 is always the hardest one for me because it's the shortest term, which sounds like a good thing, and it is in lots of ways, but it also means like we're expected to do the same amount of work with much less time. So that's stressful. And then also because of the time of year, because it's January, February, like as you saw from my January wrap up, if you watch that, like I'm just sick constantly. Plus it's dark in the morning, it's dark in the evenings, it's all just a bit depressing. So I'm very happy to have made it to February half term. It feels like a proper milestone. And also we're now halfway through the academic year. We've got 3 terms left. And I know this is only my 3rd year as a teacher, but it always feels like it kind of gets a little bit easier from here. So let's hope so anyway. So yes, it's been another frantic week. We had year 9 parents evening this week. So I was at school till 7:30, something like that. I started my buddy read with Chloe of Bunny, which was going really well. And then Wednesday hit and I was so tired. I haven't read anything since. I did read a little bit this morning. I did catch up on Wednesday's pages this morning. So bless her, she's been so patient because I basically completely failed at the buddy read. I haven't finished any books. I haven't come in to talk to you about books that I finished, although I do have 2 bookish things to talk about because it's all just been a mad rush. So yes. So plan for today, it was the Queen that is Grandma Joyce's 93rd birthday this week. So we are taking her out for some lunch. We've got Charlie with us this weekend. So we're going to take her to Wells because she really likes it there, as do we. I've also just realised that I'm very much matching the sofa today. Yeah, so we're going to take her out for some lunch. And we've also bought her an hoodie, which is hilarious because she was talking about being cold, like chilly all the time because of her age and stuff. And a few years ago we bought her a big like cashmere blanket with her name on it, which she loves, and she was talking about how she sits with that like wrapped around her legs and stuff in the evening, which is just I hate that she's cold, but I love the image of her wrapped in our blanket. It's almost like we're giving her the hug in the evening. I don't know, maybe I'm just being sentimental. But yeah, she was just talking about being chilly all the time, and obviously, as we know, I'm a massive fan of hoodies. And they keep you super warm. So we've bought her an hoodie. We've gone for the plain navy one because I didn't know how she would feel about breakfast food, for example. So we're going to give her that. We sent her flowers already on the day because obviously she deserves it because she is a queen and all queens deserve flowers on their birthdays. So yeah, take her out some lunch, and then tomorrow my friend Steph is coming and I'm so excited. I haven't seen her since the summer, and because of the pandemic and because of her work pattern, she's not been to our house since before the wedding, which is 4.5 years ago, and she's never met any of the cats, which is super weird. So she's coming up tomorrow. She's coming to us on her way home from her dad's. She's had a few days off, so she's been down at dad's on the coast. So she's coming here. I'm going to cook her a roast. She's going to meet the kiddies. She's going to see my books and see the house because loads has changed, obviously, since she was here last. So that'll be really exciting. And then next week, I don't have Charlie because he's with his mum all week. I have a lot of marking to do. I've got year 10 assessments, year 9 assessments, year 8 assessments. I feel like I've missed something. And I've got some planning to do. I need to redo my year 8 seating plan, which is a complete pain in the neck, as anyone who works in the school will know. So I've got loads of stuff like that to do, but I'm also going to make sure I get some good self-care in. So like Monday is a day off, I'm not doing anything, so I'll just be reading. Tuesdays for marking, and I'm thinking of going live basically all day, so obviously by this time you see this, that will have happened or not. I'll link it in case you find it interesting. Wednesday I'm going to take myself into Bath and do a little like date day with myself, and I think I'm going to turn it into like a come book shopping with me kind of video, because you guys seem to like those and I always enjoy making them. So I'm going to do that Wednesday. Then Thursday is another marking day, but I'm going to break it up with lunch with my lovely mother-in-law, and then Friday might be a third marking day depending on how the other 2 days have gone. If not, it'll be a day off. And then Saturday I'm having my hair cut, which I'm very excited about because it's been about 6 months and my hair just desperately needs it. It's so dry, even with like all of the conditioning treatments and stuff. I'm quite careful of taking good care of my hair, but it's got to a point where it just needs a cut. So yeah, that's my week. And I'm very excited about it. Aside from tomorrow when I have to get up to get the chicken in to make sure it's cooked on time for lunch, I will have no alarms all week and it's going to be bloody lovely. So book stuff. I've bought some bookmarks, which I'll explain in a minute, and this arrived a couple of days ago from my wish list. And I'm super confused as to what it is because it feels like a book. I don't think it feels like a book. I can feel pages moving, but I have no idea which book I've put on my wish list that's this small. So I'm very intrigued to see what that is. So we'll open that in a second. So bookmarks, the lovely Mel from a book named Mel, who I will obviously link along with anybody else that I talk about, contacted me on Twitter a while ago because she's launched an Etsy page selling bookmarks along with a couple of her other Booktube friends whose names have escaped me at this precise second, so apologies, but I will find all the details and link it below. And she basically messaged me and said, can I send you some as like a gift, and then you just like use them obviously and give us your thoughts. And I said no, because first of all she's a mate, secondly it's a new like small Etsy business, and thirdly I don't like taking things for free when I can pay for them. I don't mind taking books from publishers and stuff, and the occasional bits of swag, but I feel like when friends launch companies and businesses and stuff, I want to support them. So I was like, no, don't send me stuff for free. I will have a look on Etsy and I'll order some. And then I promptly forgot about it because January was just ridiculous, as you guys saw. And she very gently reminded me the other day. She's like, oh, I'm sending out some orders. Is there anything you want? And I was like, oh, I'll do it now. So I did, went on, had a look. There's some really nice ones. I picked 2 and they've arrived. So I will obviously link Mel, as I've already said. I'll link the Etsy store, and I have this feeling that I've seen Mel do like an announcement video for it. So if I didn't dream that, I will also put that in the description because I feel like she did and like showed you all of the designs and stuff. So like I said, I picked 2 because we know I have 5,000 bookmarks. I loved all the designs, but these were my favourite 2. And the company is called Bookaburra, which I think is really cute. Obviously, with Mel being an Aussie booktuber. So these are the bookmarks. It came with this cute little sticker that I just want to keep forever because it's adorable. And then these are the bookmarks that I chose. So I chose The Chaos is Here. They did get a little bit bent because Royal Mail suck, but I'm going to put them in between some like hardbacks for a bit to straighten them out. So I went with The Chaos is Here because that felt very apt for my entire house. And you got this cute little cow down at the bottom, and I love this like peachy colour. I just thought it was really fun and really cute. And then of course I had to go with the bookshelf with the little cat sleeping on it. Now obviously this cat is the wrong colour for my household, but that's fine. It's nice to have some cats in the household that aren't black. And then on the back it's got the Bookaburra logo, which I think is really cool. And again, I really like that they're like pastel-y and fun. Oh, that's the wrong way around. Fun and cute. So yeah, those are my 2 little bookmarks that I got from Elle. Highly recommend. They arrived really quickly. And then let's open this and see what this is. So, cat hair on everything, honestly. Oh, that was satisfying. Okay, let's see if we can find a gift note first. What is this book? This is definitely from my wish list. I don't know that there's a gift note in here. Oh, hang on. What's that? That's the receipt. And look, Amazon, this is not helpful. Okay. Oh, that's very exciting. Who sent me that? Because this is one I've wanted to read for ages. I didn't realise it was so small. This is I What are words? I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Harpman. I can't remember who I saw talking about this, but it sounds incredible. I might read this like right now. Look at this cover. So it just says on the back, deep underground, 39 women live imprisoned in a cage. Like, why? This is what I need to know. Watched over by guards, these women have no memory of how they got there, no notion of time, and only vague recollections of their lives before. As the burn of electric light merges day into night and numberless years pass, a young girl, the 40th prisoner, sits alone and outcast in the corner. But soon she will show herself to be the key to others' escape and survival in the strange world that awaits them above. This sounds incredible. It's also blurbed by Megan Hunter, who I've read before and absolutely loved. And it's got an introduction by Sophie McIntosh, who was the author of The Water Cure, and also Red Ticket, the Ticket one. I feel like it was Blue Ticket, I can't remember, but I loved both of those. So I'm really excited for this, and I'm super annoyed that I don't know who gave it to me right now. I'm going to go and do a little bit of like internet hunting, find out who gave me this and say thank you, because of all the books on my wish list, this is probably the one I was most excited about. So that's amazing. I'm just going to add this straight into my currently reading pile. Let's not mess about. Won't even put it on my TBR shelf. So thank you very much to whoever this was. This is very exciting. Right now, I am off to go and collect my 93-year-old grandma and take her out and have a lovely birthday lunch. It's the 13th of February and I look like a thumb, but for once, it's not because I'm poorly, it's because I'm relaxed. I'm having like a pyjama day today where I'm just reading and cuddling up with the cats and all that kind of stuff. It's lovely. But I wanted to drop in and just talk to you because I finished 4 books since I spoke to you on Saturday. And I've given all of them 4.5 stars. Now, I started using half stars so that I could give more nuance to my book reviews and work out which books I liked best, and then I've given all 4 of these 4.5 stars, so it's not really working, is it? But there we go. Yeah, I've got 4 books to talk about, and then also when Steph came yesterday, she bought me my Christmas presents, which I'll explain in a minute, and she also bought me a book, was included in that lovely parcel that she gave me, which I didn't film because I was too busy ripping it open. So first book that I finished was Red Queen by Guan, I'm so bad at this, Gomez Gerardo. This is an arc. It comes out in March, which is why I was reading it this month. This was obviously from Book Break. And this is a series that's been out in Spain for years. It's a trilogy, but it's recently been translated. So that's why I've got an arc copy. And I really enjoyed this. I'm going to say this about all 4 books because I gave all 4 of them 4.5 stars. We are following a police detective who is in trouble because he's been caught framing a drug dealer. And he's being interrogated by police officers, obviously, about his behaviour, and they suddenly leave the room and this strange man walks in and he basically says that he can make everything go away if the police officer looks after this woman, and the police officer agrees to this, and then it kind of goes from there. And it says on the back that it's Killing Eve meets the girl with the dragon tattoo with a dash of Silence of the Lambs, and I would totally agree. However, what I would say is the characters in this are far more lovable. I became really attached to both characters, to Antonia, who is the woman he's looking after, and I can't remember what the police detective's called, but I became really attached to them, clearly so attached I forgot their names. The central mystery I thought was really good. It's very violent, it's very graphic, it is not for everybody. And I don't really want to tell you any more than that because I went into this pretty blind and I feel like it's the best way because things just kind of unfold. I gave it 4.5 stars just because the ending does a thing that I really don't like. It's setting up the beginning of it's obviously the first in the trilogy, and it's setting up the kind of bigger mystery, like the overarching mystery, and I just felt like that was done a little bit clumsily, but overall I really enjoyed it. I will definitely read the second one when it comes out in English. I'm hoping that Book Break will have arcs of that soon. And yeah, if you like dark, gritty, clever,
kind of police procedurals, but kind of not, because they're kind of operating outside of the law, with a really clever and interesting and complicated and nuanced female protagonist. I would really recommend this. I could not put it down, and I'm sure it's one that I will think about. Plus the cover's just really cool. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one. Then I completed my buddy read with Chloe from Chloe Reads Books of Bunny by Mona Awad, and this is not for everyone. I'm going to say this about another book in a minute. This is so weird. We are following, is it Samantha? Yeah, we're following Samantha, who is at university doing a master's degree in creative writing, and the other people on her course are these girls, this group of 4 girls who call themselves the Bunnies, and they call each other Bunny, and they're all very cute and very twee, and she hates them, and she's going back for her final semester towards the end of her degree, and so far they've pretty much ignored her and been quite rude and dismissive about her work and not been made her part of their group, and she's been fine with that. But then one day they issue her with an invitation, and it goes from there. And that is literally all I can tell you, because you just need to go into this book with that information and see what happens. I read All's Well by Mona Awad last year and really enjoyed that one, and they are both absolutely crazy. You just kind of have to go with it and don't overthink it too much, and just see what happens. Again, not for everybody. Very, very dark, very, very weird, very, very confusing. The ending I had to read a couple of times to get it, but I'm really glad that I did. I'm glad that Chloe and I read this together. I'm also really glad that I've read it, because it was on my like mental to read list for a while, and I'm glad I finally did. And I will definitely read anything else that she comes out with. Her earlier works, I think I can't remember what they're called, but there's a couple that I looked at and I was like, yeah, I don't think those are for me. But I think anything else that she comes out with in the future, I will definitely pick up, because it's just a crazy ride, and I really enjoy her writing style. It feels like a fever dream, is what I would say. It's weird, but I liked it. And then speaking of, oh no, we'll do that in a minute. The next book that I finished was a book that my dad gifted me for Christmas. This is The Spy Who Loved by Claire Mully. I read this on audiobook, and I haven't written down who the audiobook narrator was, which is really bad of me. I will put that in the description, because she did a brilliant job. And this is all about Christine Granville. This is non-fiction. And as it says here, the secrets and lives of one of Britain's bravest wartime heroines. And she was a real person. She was a Polish spy. She worked for the British government. She did incredible things, including jumping out of planes, saving people in France. I don't want to tell the story, because obviously you need to kind of experience it, but it's telling the story of her life, and it opens with the fact that in 1952 she was murdered by an obsessive colleague, and all the way through you kind of don't know who the obsessive colleague is until fairly close to the end, and I really liked that kind of reminder all the way through of, oh, this is how that's going to end. I gave this 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. She's fascinating. It's just a completely fascinating woman. And obviously in the book edition, like the physical copy book, you get pictures of Christine and various other people. That's her there. So beautiful. That you obviously don't get in the audiobook. So I really enjoyed sitting down with this and flicking through it. She's just a fascinating woman, but I felt like in parts she was slightly missing, and it's because we don't get her voice very often, because she didn't leave behind, she wasn't the kind of person to really write diaries or anything like that, and there are a few letters from her that have survived that are included, but it was mostly people talking about Christine rather than Christine herself, which is just the nature of it, and also some of it, because it's quite a big book, I think the audiobook was like 16 hours or something, it's a lot about the war, obviously, and sometimes we weren't even with Christine, we were meeting other people, and it was to build context of the situation that she was in, but I was a bit like, I would just want to be back with Christine, please, rather than over here with some random dude. However, really enjoyed this. If you like World War II fiction, I would read this. This reads like fiction. If you're interested in World War II non-fiction, obviously pick this up. If you're interested in kind of forgotten women in history, pick this up. She did the most incredible things, and she's largely been forgotten. So I really enjoyed reading this book and finding out all about her, because she was incredible, and definitely one of those people that would be so fascinating to talk to at a dinner party, because some of her stories are told in here, but I feel like there's loads more that were never recorded. So yeah, thanks Dad for that. I really enjoyed that. And then the final book, which I finished this morning, is one you saw me haul a minute ago for you guys. It was from the lovely Claire from on Bookstagram, who sent me this, which is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. This is not for everyone. This is very kind of along the same lines as Bunny. Like, not in terms of the story, but in terms of, like, I enjoyed it, but I'm not sure everybody would. This is weird. Again, it's very short. I can't even tell you the specific genre other than literary fiction, because that would be a spoiler. But we are following an unnamed narrator who has lived her whole life in this cage underground with 39 other women. They don't know why they're there. They are brought food every day. They have electricity and water and beds and stuff, but they're not allowed to touch each other, you know, in terms of like hugging, and you know, you're not allowed to hug people, you're not allowed to talk too much. If they do, there are guards there with whips. And the women remember the life before, but our unnamed narrator is the youngest of them and doesn't remember anything about her life before. And then something happens and it kind of goes from there. And that's all I can say because it's really short and I don't want to give spoilers. It's strange. You don't get a lot of answers. It's very much about what makes us human. It kind of reminded me of The Deep by River Solomon, in that because she's the youngest of the group, she's going to be the last one left, and she's therefore kind of like the memory keeper of the group, and the women tell her things about the world before, and then she's kind of left with this essentially useless knowledge that she can't use. So yeah, it's quite gruesome in places. It's quite hard to read. Parts of it are quite harsh, but I just know that this is what I'm going to be thinking about loads. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was a strange little read. It's translated, I think, from the French, and I feel like if you like things, yeah, French, like The Deep, like The Mad Woman's Ball, like Blue Ticket, by Sophie McIntosh, who also does the introduction to this. Oh, also, if you get this edition, don't read the introduction before you read the book because it gives spoilers. It drives me crazy when books do that. Just put it at the end. Just do it as a epilogue type note thing, because I started reading it and I was like, this is giving me spoilers, so I skipped it. Go back and read it. It's definitely worth reading, but don't read it before you read the story. Yeah, it was very odd, but I really liked it. So a massive thank you to Claire for sending me that, because I really enjoyed it and glad I've read it. And then Steph came yesterday and gave me my Christmas present. So we'd agreed months ago to delay our gifts to each other, mostly just to kind of spread the cost of it. We never get to see each other at Christmas because we're like hosting our own families and stuff. So we just decided that we would do Christmas presents in January, basically. And it was really good because I bought her twice the amount of stuff with half the cost, because I used various different New Year's sales, and she'd done the same thing, and so she bought me this lovely box of lovely things, which was really nice. But in it was a burning obsession by Mike Omer. She bought me the first 2 books in this trilogy for my birthday, and I haven't yet read either of them, and then this is the 3rd one. So I'm not going to read the back because this is the 3rd, but Mike Omer writes really good, really gritty police procedurals, usually around a serial killer. I've read the Zoe Bentley mysteries. I'm just looking at the front here, which is A Killer's Mind, In the Darkness, and Thicker Than Blood. I loved those. I think I gave all of them either 4 or 5 stars. And then this is his new series, which starts with The Deadly Influence and then Damaged Intentions, which I need to pick up. I should probably pick up one of them this month, because this is the 3rd, so that was very, very kind of her. So yeah, that's my bookish update. Like I said, today I'm just doing a little bit of housework, doing a few bits and pieces that need doing, like food shopping and stuff and laundry. Mostly reading, which is lovely. And then tomorrow I need to get on and tackle Marking Mountain. It's the 15th of February and I'm very tired, but not for the usual reason that I come on to complain that I'm tired about. I've been in Bath all day today. I have filmed a separate vlog for that. I might have popped 1 or 2 little like sneaky peeky clips into the B-roll for this. But you will see that in a couple of weeks from when this goes up. But I've had the nicest day. I just mooched. I bought some bits I needed from like Primark, just some basic stuff. I bought some skincare stuff that I needed, and I bought books. I bought books for sure. So I need to talk to you about one book I finished, one book I DNF'd, which is probably going to be a really unpopular opinion, and then several books that I bought today. So let's do the book that I finished first of all, and that was my reread of Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is for Sister Along. By the time this goes up, are we doing the live show this evening? I can't remember. But if we've done it, I'll link it in the description. If not, I'm sure I'll be shouting about it all over social media. But Aoife from Pretty Purple Polka Dots and I are reading this this month with the host this month. And yeah, I gave us 5 stars. This is the 3rd time I read it. I feel like it will always be a 5-star. I love Danny. I love Zaf. I love just everything about them and everything that happens in this book. And I gave it 5 stars. So there's that one. That's the one that I've just finished. And then the one I decided to DNF, I feel bad about it because it's a really beloved, you can hear my husband in the kitchen, apologies. It's a really beloved series on Booktube, and I feel bad, but I was like 100 pages, and also I was reading the 3rd book. This is the 3rd book in this trilogy. I could probably have just pushed through and finished it, but I just didn't want to. I didn't love the first 2 books. I picked up the 3rd one because it was kindly sent to me. So thank you to the person that sent me this. I just wasn't connecting with it at all, and I don't know why. But that book is Frostheart, Rise of the World Eater by Jamie Littler. Now, this is definitely it's me, not the book situation, because this is so beloved. My kids at school love these books, so this will go into my classroom library and be very happily and gratefully received by them, I'm sure. But for me, I just didn't want to I just didn't want to pick it up. I kept putting it off, pushing it to one side, all the rest of it. Sorry, I put Molly down here. I'm trying to play with all my stuff I've just unpacked. Yeah, it just wasn't for me. So I'm really sorry, guys, but I DNF that one. Okay, then let's talk about all the books I just bought today. How many do we actually have? I haven't actually counted them, which is always a bad sign. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, yeah. Okay, so first of all, let's go with the one I picked up secondhand. This is The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. I read this years ago. I think I gave it 5 stars at the time, although I haven't checked my GoodReads. I'll have to have a look. And basically, my Year 11s used a section of this, an extract of this, for their recent mock exam. And rereading it for that mock exam just made me want to pick it up again. And so I said to myself, right, when I go to Bath, I'll check the secondhand bookshops. If I find a copy, a decent copy, I'm going to pick it up. So yeah, I found this at the Guildhall Market, which is this huge indoor market, cupboard market. And it's got a massive secondhand book paperback shop thing in it, stall in it. So this was £3.50. It's not in bad condition. The spine is cracked, but we all know that I'm going to probably make that worse. And I'm just really excited to pick this up again. I don't really know how to explain this without giving it away, so I probably just won't. I'll try and find a way once I've read it. But yeah, I read this years ago, loved it, and I'm excited to pick it up again. You'll probably see this in a wrap up sooner rather than later, whilst I'm still excited about it. So that was the secondhand book. And then I went to Waterstones and I bought all these books full price because I wanted to. I had Christmas money. It's been ages since I've been book shopping. I think the last time I went book shopping is like October time, and I just really had that itch, and boy have I scratched it. So the first one, these are in no particular order. The first one on the stack is The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels by Janice Hallett. This happens to be a signed edition. Look at these end pages, I'm obsessed. Signed, yay. Yes, so I loved The Appeal by Janice Hallett. I've heard nothing but bad things about the other one, the second one. Can't remember what it's called, The Twyford Code. I've only heard bad reviews of that. However, this one's getting really good reviews, and I'm super intrigued because, again, it's got that kind of true crime element to it, and it's also told in mixed media. So again, I'm not going to give you full synopses of these books because, to be honest, I'm feeling really tired. I just want to show you what I got, and then I can go and lie down. So yes, this is the only hardback that I bought myself today, which I thought was quite restrained. It's got a very cool cover, and again, you'll probably see this sooner rather than later. I also picked up another Alison Weir. This is Elizabeth of York, The Last White Rose. This is the first book in the Tudor Rose series, and it will obviously sit right over there with my 6 Tudor Queens. I can't resist an Alison Weir fiction about the Tudors. So, you know, I already know this story. I already know quite a lot about Elizabeth of York, but I'm still excited to read it, so at some point I will curl up with that. I then picked up Talia Hibbett's Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. I'm pretty sure this was in the adult section, but I'm pretty sure this is her YA debut, but I need to look it up. But this just looks really cute and fun, and it looks like the kind of thing that my brain will need at some point, so I picked it up, so I have it ready. I also picked up Lucy Worsley's Jane Austen at Home. I've been wanting to read this for a while, just really intrigued. It's just literally about the places that she lived, that Jane Austen lived in, and the influence it had on her writing and all that kind of stuff. So we have that one bit of non-fiction. Another bit of non-fiction is Pandora's Jar by Natalie Haynes. I've read a couple of Natalie Haynes books, fiction books, but haven't read any of her non-fiction, and this is Women in Greek Myths, so I'm really excited for this. I think I've said it before, I'm feeling a little bit worn out with Greek myth retellings at the moment, but I'm hoping some non-fiction might kind of help reinvigorate that. It's got a really cool cover, can't lie, the cover did catch my eye. And then the last one, speaking of Greek myth retellings, this is Galatea by Madeline Miller. This is the only Madeline Miller I haven't read. I've been meaning to buy it for ages. I saw it in Waterstones. It's just this cute little novella. Definitely paid way too much money for it, given how small it is. It's literally 56 pages long. But I would like to be able to say that I read all of Madeline Miller, and this caught my eye. So yes, that's what I've been up to today. Husband is now home, which is lovely, so I'm going to go and put all of this away, which you'll see more of in that vlog. I'm going to drink my apple tea the size of my head, white peach with mango bubbles. It's the best one, it's the best combination, nobody's going to tell me different. And then I'm going to curl up and read. It's the 18th of February and I have just had my hair cut and I feel so much better for it. It doesn't look, I don't think it looks that dramatic from the front because we left it quite long at the front, but from the side you can definitely see it there. And she had to use the clippers at the back, which is always a bit exciting. I then got caught in the rain, so we're slightly losing the full effect. My fringe is doing weird things. But yeah, I finally, after 6 months, had my hair cut. I find having my hair cut quite stressful. And a friend of mine used to cut my hair previously and she has done for years, but these days she's only doing like weekday evenings, which obviously doesn't work for me with school. So I had to find somebody else to do it and that was stressful, but we got there in the end and she was really lovely and I'm very happy with it. It feels so much healthier. And when I go back for my Easter holiday haircut, I'm gonna get it dyed as well. Because the colour doesn't look too bad, but this is my natural hair colour. Sorry, totally digressing from book stuff. And I think it's just a little bit dark, so we're going to go slightly lighter. But yes, I have had my hair cut and I'm feeling good. So, since I spoke to you last, which was yesterday maybe, so if you can hear background noise, my husband's downstairs. Yesterday or the day before, I can't remember. I have finished my marking. I don't think I've talked about this in a vlog. I feel like I've not said this yet. Finished my marking, so that was good, which will last for about 2 seconds. But I have. I had a lazy day yesterday, which was really nice. Today I've been to get my hair cut, and then again, it's just Gary and I this weekend. And the weather is grim right now, so we're going to have a very lazy afternoon of just chilling on the sofa. He's going to watch the rugby. I'm going to read. We're going to eat some nice snacks and all that kind of stuff. And then tomorrow I will probably have peak anxiety about going back to work. I'm already starting to feel it bubble, which is great. So I'll be channeling that anxious energy into doing all the things that are left on my to-do list, which is mostly just like the usual Sunday chores, bit of housework and food shop and all that stuff. So that'll be tomorrow. But I'm hoping for a chilled day today before my brain kicks in too much in the morning. But I have been reading. I finished 2 books. Well, I finished a book and a novella, like the shortest short story. I don't even think it counts as a novella that I've ever read. And then I've hauled in 2 more books that I treated myself to that I couldn't find in Bath the other day. So that's good. I mean, 2 books in, 2 books out. That sounds okay, except for the like 6 or 7 that I treated myself to on Wednesday. But hey, it's fine. So the first book that I finished was Jane Doe by Victoria Helen Stone. This was gifted to me a little while ago by the lovely Anne at Rooting Branches. And she said in her gift note, "This is also on my TBR, so I hope you enjoy it. Glad you got home safe from your trip." Yeah, must have been when I went to see Leanne and Harry in Edinburgh last year. "And thank you for urging me to DNF a book. It was 100% needed. Wishing you happiness, from Anne." Yeah, because there was a book that she was wavering on and was like, "Oh, I'm not sure if I should DNF it," but it was pushing her towards reading some sort. I was like, yeah, you don't need to be reading that, which I fully stand by. Anyway, this book actually weirdly was recommended by Leanne, and I really enjoyed it. In this book, we are following Jane, who is a sociopath, and she has come home. She's been working abroad in Malaysia, and she's come home to, I think it's like Minnesota or somewhere, and she's on a revenge mission. And at the start of the book, she's taken a job, a really like basic entry-level office job, and she is getting closer and closer to this guy Stephen, and you don't know to start with why she's out for revenge, but you know that she's planning to do something. She's probably going to kill him, is the setup. And I thought this was really cleverly done. This reminded me really heavily of the first Sweet Pea book. I feel like if you like that one, you probably like this, and vice versa. This was dark, it was funny in places. She speaks directly to you, she breaks the fourth wall a few times, and it's really done in a really funny way. And even though she's a sociopath doing awful things, you are fully on her side. And I really enjoyed this. I gave it, I think, 4 stars. It was either 4 or 4.5. I feel like it was 4. There's a second one called Problem Child, which I really want to read, like as soon as I can get my hands on it. Because I just thought it was really cleverly done, and it looks at gaslighting and abusive relationships. There is discussions of suicide as well. That's another content warning. And it looks at misogyny, and it's really dark, but it weaves together really well. And she's, like I said, even though she's a sociopath, you're totally on her side, which I think is a sign of clever writing, or it's a sign that maybe there's something wrong with me, but let's not pull at that thread. So yeah, if you're looking for something dark and clever, with a female protagonist who is definitely doing bad things, I'd recommend this. And if you like Sweet Pea, I think you'd like this. And also, what was the one that I read last month? They Never Learn. If you like that kind of thing, this will also be up your street. I will probably lend this to my boss because she'd probably really like it. So yeah, I gave that either 4 or 4.5 stars. I now can't remember. And then I read Galateo, which took me about half an hour, by Madeline Miller. You just saw me haul this, obviously. It's so pretty. The only reason I bought this was because it was Madeline Miller, and I wanted to be able to read everything that she's written. And this was the only one I hadn't read, because obviously I already read Song of Achilles and Circe. And this is a retelling of the Pygmalion myth. And that's really all I can tell you. I loved it. It was too short, and I know it's a short story. I think I gave this one 4 stars. It just kind of made me want more. I feel like if you haven't read a Madeline Miller and you're not sure if you're going to get with her style, you should read this first, because it's a really good example of her writing. It's beautiful, it's complicated, it's dark, there's something really compelling for me about her writing, and I'm really glad I read it. It's so cute. It will definitely stay in my collection because it's so pretty. But yeah, it wasn't long enough, and I knew that going in, so that's kind of a silly thing to be whinging about. But yeah, I read it. It was a book and I read it, so there we go. And then yeah, the 2 books that I couldn't find in Bath the other day, is one of them is a book that I've been saying for ages that I was gonna bite the bullet and read, and then one was a recommendation that basically kind of dropped out of the sky. So the first one is The Beautiful Ones by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I posted the knitting book tag last week at the time of filming this, which I will link in the description, and the lovely Hannah from Ladder M commented on that video, because in the video I said that one of the underrated books that I really liked was, oh my gosh, what was that book? Catherine House. And I was saying, it's a real Marmite book. People either give it like 1 star or 5 stars. I gave it 5 stars, I think. I loved it. but not everyone kind of gets it, and the ending's a bit weird and all that stuff. And Hannah was kind enough to comment on that video and say that she'd also loved Catherine House and had I read this one, and I was like, oh no, I haven't. And she said that if I liked that, she thought I'd like this, and she knows what she's talking about when it comes to book recommendations, so I bought it. Basically, I don't even know anything about it, I just bought it. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to pick that up at some point soon. It's got the most stunning cover. I read Mexican Gothic by this author end of last year. I think I gave it 4 stars, 3.5, 4 stars, something like that. And I really like the writing style, but the Gothic element I don't think it's for me. I don't love Gothic writing. So we'll see how we go on with this. But yeah, I haven't even read the back. Hannah recommended it on the basis of loving Catherine House, and I was like, yeah. And I think she said in a comment that this book had her in a chokehold. I was like, that is enough of a recommendation for me. I will buy that. So yes, this is now on my shelves. It doesn't feel very long. 292 pages. Should I read this now? Possibly. So there's that one. And then this one is the one that I've been saying for ages I was going to read. Couldn't find it anywhere in town, which I thought was super weird. I thought it was huge, but actually it's arrived and it's 450 pages, so it's not as big as I thought, and the text is much, much bigger than I was expecting. So I'm feeling less daunted by Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. This cover, honestly, is so cool. It's such a cool cover. I did want to see if I could find like a nice sprayed edge version, but I couldn't. Although the second book is coming out in the summer, and I feel like that might be when we get some nicer editions. But still, this is a very cool cover. I'm very excited about it. I'm gonna pick this up next. I've got 2 books that I'm currently reading. Oh, I do like a black hardback. Yeah, I've got 2 books that I'm currently reading. I need to finish those. One is Fingersmith by Sarah Waters, which is taking me quite a while, but I am now nearly done. Enjoying it. Spoiler for the next clip. And also one of the thrillers that Steph bought me for Christmas. I'm also reading that. So once I'm done with Fingersmith, because that's the big long book, I'm going to pick this up next. This is probably be one of my last reads of the month, but I'm excited to get into it. And it's not as daunting as I thought it was going to be. It's the 24th of February, and yes, we are definitely back at school. Oh my goodness, it's Friday night. I've been teaching all day. This is what I look like. And I am exhausted. It feels like my brain's going to leak out of my ears. My voice is also going. We love that for me. It's been quite the week. I'm not afraid to say that behaviour in our school right now is pretty bad. So it's been a really challenging week. Lots going on. Year 11 are about to start their last round of mocks, which is super stressful, and I can't believe it's their last round. Their exams start in something like 30 something school days, which is terrifying. So yeah, it's been quite the week. I also fell over outside Tesco the other day. My dyspraxia was clearly on full display. I was picking up our food delivery, and they bring it out on these like little carts with wheels on, and then crates with like your food in, and I just somehow managed to get my legs tangled up with the little trolley thing, fell all the way over. It was really embarrassing. Oh, here's Savannah. She's literally just behind the camera now, so you might see or hear her in a second. Yeah, there she goes. And yeah, fell completely over, so felt like a complete idiot. It wasn't too bad at the time. I think it was adrenaline and my like social anxiety going, oh my gosh, get up. So sorted out the rest of the shopping, got out my car, drove home. My legs are black and blue, and I did think I might have cracked a rib, but I haven't. I don't think anyway. Like the pain that as it is now, it's not a cracked rib, it's just a bad bruise. So yeah, it's been a really great week. Thankfully it's Friday night. We've got Charlie this weekend. He's got a mate coming over tomorrow. I'm going to spend the weekend marking, because of course I am. What else would I be doing with my time? But I've got a lap full of books to talk to you about. I've got 5 books to talk to you about. 3 that I've finished, 1 that I DNF'd, and 1 that I'm counting as a unread unhaul, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then I got 2 parcels which arrived over the last couple of days from some of you lovely lot, 'cause it's from my gift list, no, my wish list. And I've got a parcel from, that's Sav jumping back up again, I've got a parcel from PanMac as well with some books, which is very exciting. So let's talk through these books. The first one I finished was Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. This was kindly gifted me. I think this was Joe, like last Easter or something. Yeah, it was Jo, and yeah, she talks about my Easter break because it's from last year. So sorry, Jo, it took me so long to read. For those of you that don't know, I DNF'd The Little Stranger by Sarah Waters, and Tipping the Velvet, obviously also by Sarah Waters, was one of my favourite books of last year. So I have a very up and down relationship with this author. This is historical fiction, sapphic historical fiction. We are in Victorian London, with following a girl called Sue, who was orphaned at birth, and was kind of taken in by a group of fingersmiths, so thieves. And then she is asked by a man that they call the gentleman to help him with the job that he's got, basically. And it kind of goes from there. I gave this 4 stars. I did enjoy it. I didn't love it as much. I didn't connect with it as much as Tipping the Velvet. And I felt like it was like 200 pages too long. This is a big book. I felt like it was too long. Yeah, this is 550 pages. I felt like it could be at least 100 pages, if not a bit more shorter. And there were parts of it I was slightly skim reading. But I really did enjoy the story. I loved, there's a really good twist. There's a couple of twists in it. It was an interesting exploration of how the Victorians treated like mental illness. There's a section of this where one of the characters is in what they call an asylum. And yeah, I did enjoy it. It didn't give me that 5 stars. I feel like I will probably forget some of the details of this quite quickly, but I still enjoyed it, and I definitely want to read more Sarah Waters. I've looked at the others on her list, and I think Affinity is the only other one that like appeals personally to me. So yeah, enjoyed that. Solid 4 stars. Lovely. Then I read A Deadly Influence by Mike Omer. This was given to me by Steph for my birthday, and it's the start of a new trilogy or a new series. Steph and I have both read the Zoe Bentley trilogy by this author and really enjoyed it. He writes really dark, really well written serial killer stories, generally. This is the Abby Mullen series, and this is the first one. And she is a negotiator, so she works in the police, I think it is. She's a lieutenant in the NYPD, and she's a negotiation instructor. And she also has her own stuff going on from her past. I gave this 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this. So in this one, she is called in to help a family whose son has been abducted. 8-year-old son has been abducted, and she realizes very quickly that the mother in that family is someone that she knows from her past. It's all kind of linked up, and it goes from there. It looks at cults, it looks at social media, and actually The Deadly Influence is a really clever title because it looks at influencers and the information that we put online and the things we give away without even noticing. And I thought this was super clever. I really want to pick up the next one. I do have the next 2 because Steph very kindly gave them to me for the first 2 for my birthday and then the 3rd for Christmas. And these are the kind of books that, like, for me would be like beach reads. I could chomp through this in a day and really enjoy it. I thought it was clever. It was twisty. Didn't quite give me the 5-star feel, but it was a solid 4.5. Then on audio, I read Sense and Second Degree Murder by Tirzah Price. And again, I've forgotten to write down who the audiobook narrator was, but I will put that in the description because I'd highly recommend them. The audiobooks are great for this series. And this was gifted to me last month, end of last month or this month. Did I open it this month? I can't remember. By the lovely Marianne from Cover Books. Sorry, I've still got a little bit of a cough. And these are Jane Austen retellings with murder. So this is based on Sense and Sensibility, obviously. Again, I gave this a 4.5 star. Thought it was very solid. I really like that she uses Margaret, who is the other Dashwood sister, a lot more than she appears in Sense and Sensibility. And yeah, in this one we are following Marianne and Eleanor Dashwood after the murder of their father, and they are trying to work out what's gone on, who's killed him and why. It takes quite a deep dive into addiction, into opium use, also into mental health, because their mother basically completely falls apart after the death of her husband. And there's talk in here about how she's fallen apart other times in their life, and Eleanor, as the older sister, has to kind of step in. And yeah, I just think these are really fun. They're cleverly done. They are quite dark. I'm obsessed with these covers. Just this beautiful like embroidery style. I just think it's a really cool concept that's written really well, done really well. The 3rd one is called Manslaughter Park. Manslaughter Park? Yes, based on Mansfield Park. That's coming out later this year, and I've actually pre-ordered it for myself because I really enjoy these. So that was another solid 4.5 stars. Lots of 4.5 stars this month, which is the trap I'm finding and falling into now that I'm using half stars, but I guess that's what they're for. Then I've had 2 books. One I hated. Really, really hated. And the other one I'm counting as a unread unhaul. The book that I started, I read 36 pages, and that's Magpie by Elizabeth Day. Now, I know some people have enjoyed this book, and if you enjoyed it, that's absolutely fine. I'm glad you did. I was given this by school, because every year on Random Acts of Kindness Day or something, some of our lovely head of faculties get together and they go and they buy secondhand books for one for each member of staff. They wrap them up in brown paper. It's really cute and it's such a lovely idea. This was mine, and I'm absolutely dreading when the conversation comes up about have we read our books yet, because this was awful, I think. So we follow, what is her name? Marissa, who meets Jake, they fall in love, and 3 months later they are moving in together and talking about having kids. And I was a bit like, excuse me, what is happening? I DNF'd at 36 pages because Marissa is so needy. She has literally no personality of her own. She also talks about how she can hear her body clock ticking, and I'm sorry, I just don't need to read that kind of thing in the year of 2023. And I could just tell where it was going, and I was not at all connected to it. So this was a hard DNF, no thank you from me. Then I picked up This Is Not the End by Molly Morris, and I can't remember how this came into my possession. I suspect that the lovely people at Chicken House sent this to me, but I'm counting it as an unread unhaul because I read the back again. It's been I think I've had this a while, and I read the back and I was a bit like, oh, I'm not sure that's for me anymore. It sounds a bit YA. I'll give it a try. I read the first 10 pages. I was just not feeling it. So I'm going to unhaul that one. I will find a better home for it. On the back, it says, because they give you the 3 words, it's funny, road trip and adventure. There is also a warning because it contains references to some images of suicide that some may find triggering, which is really good to see. So well done, Chicken House, for that. But yeah, this one, I tried a little bit. I was like, that's not for me, but I'm not counting it as a DNF because I kind of knew when I picked it up that it wasn't going to be quite for me. Okay, let's open these parcels because I have 2 of them from you lovely lot, because these are from my wish list. They've got What Victoria Read on the label, and then I've got a box from Pan Macmillan, and it's been a little while since I requested the book, so I have no idea what's in there. I've completely forgotten what I asked for. So let's see what's in here first. Gift note. No, that's a receipt. Gift note. Come on, Amazon. Yes, there we go. So who is this from? Oh, it's from Joe again. Joe and Alfie. Really enjoyed this one. I read it last year. Hopefully you will too. Oh, that's exciting. What has she gone for? It's a hardback. Oh, this is Careless by Kirsty Capes. Good choice. So quite a few people have recommended this to me, so I'm kind of intrigued to see what I think, because I feel like this was longlisted for the Booker or for the Women's Prize. I feel like it was maybe the Women's Prize. So yeah, I think it's about a teenage girl that finds out she's pregnant and she's got to decide what to do. That's kind of all I know about it, but also loads and loads of people have recommended it specifically to me. Oh, look at the end pages. Those are pretty. So yeah, I feel like this is probably going to be quite tough reading. Wow, that's a nice spine. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much, Joe. I'm excited to give this a go. I might pick that up soon. I'm kind of in the mood for something literary at the moment. So great, thank you very much for that. That was so nice of you. You did not have to do that, and I appreciate you muchly. Let's open this one up. Oh yes, off in one. That's 2 in a row. It's the small things. After a week like I've had, it's the small things. Where is the gift note? There we go. Who's this from? Oh, Laura. Oh, bless her. She said, congratulations on your new role. You'll be fabulous, and the children are lucky to have you looking after them. From Laura. Thank you so much. I took on a pastoral type role, a very, very small pastoral role this week, which I'm very excited about, and I'm not sure how much I could or should really talk about it here. But yes, thank you, Laura. She's just one of the best. What she got? Oh, that's so funny. She picked Affinity after what I just said. Oh, this is a much smaller Sarah Waters. Okay, well, maybe you will see me reading this soon. Yeah, this is like 350 pages. This is much smaller. And this is about, it's a eerily brilliant and spooky tale of spiritualism and deception. I think it's about somebody who goes into a prison, who goes to work in a prison or something. How very exciting. Thank you very much, Joe. 2 very different books, but both that I'm excited about. And then this massive parcel's arrived, and it's from Panmac. It says it on the back. As you guys know, I work with Book Break, and they very kindly, oh, there's stuff in here, send me books for review. Let's try and do this without exposing my address on the internet. Oh, okay, so what have we got? It's been, like I said, it's been a while since I requested these, so I've kind of forgotten. Okay, 7 days, 10 contestants, a prize to die for. Maybe I'll read this soon. This is The Villa by Ruth Kelly. This comes out in June. Oh man, so I have to wait till May. And it says, congratulations, you now have exclusive access to The Villa, a reality television show like no other. The full VIP treatment awaits you this summer, streaming 24 hours a day. A chance to watch sun-kissed strangers compete on a top secret island as the stakes keep getting higher and you're in control. The chance to win it all. Love, money, fame, and nothing will stop them in their pursuit of the top prize. How far will they go? This is very exciting. So yeah, that sounds really creepy. I mean, it's big. Savannah, can we not scratch the sofa? It's like over 400 pages. But yes, I'm excited to give that a read. So that's an arc. And then, is this an arc as well? Yes. So this is Blackthorn, 6 Deaths, 1 Murder by Sarah Hillary. Can you tell I've been on a thriller kick recently? Sav, it's because I've got cardboard. She wants to eat it. This comes out in July. Can you stop? So, Blackthorn Ashes was meant to be their forever home. For the first 6 families moving into the exclusive new housing development, it was a chance to live a peaceful life on the cliffs overlooking the Cornish Sea, safe in the knowledge that had been created just for them. But 6 weeks later, Paradise is lost. 6 people are dead, and Blackthorn Ashes is left abandoned and unfinished, its dark shadows hiding all manner of secrets. One of its surviving residents, Agnes Gale, is determined to find out the truth about what happened, even if the truth is deadlier than she could ever have believed possible. Well, that's very exciting. So, oh, she wrote Fragile, which I read last year and I really enjoyed it. So this is a compulsive psychological thriller that questions how much you know about the people who live next to you. And this is out in July. Wow, there's some really good arcs. That's some really fun reading right there. Whether or not I wait, I don't know. And then this is like press releases and stuff. So thank you very much, Book Break. And thank you also to Joe and Laura for the lovely, lovely gifts. I really appreciate it. I am going to go and run myself a bath and just collapse face first into it, most likely. It's the 27th of February and I have just come off Life's Rinse on my channel. So I'm just closing my laptop lid before I forget. So if you were there for that, thank you so much. I'll link it in the description in case, again, it's useful for you and you want to use it. I'll see what we're chatting about. I just really enjoy doing those whilst I'm marking because, one, it makes me actually mark, because this morning I was in a real like, oh, I'm not going to do it, I'm just going to leave it. But that would have made next week really stressful. Even more stressful than it's going to be. So one, it makes me work, and then two, it's just so nice to have the little breaks to chit chat with everyone and see what everyone's up to. We have some random conversations, which I just really enjoy. So that's just been a really nice way to get some work done this morning. So I've done that, and I finished a book last night that I absolutely loved. One of the easiest 5 stars I've ever given, and it's a book that loads of you told me to read for ages, and I ignored you, and I was stupid, and I should have just picked it up and read it, because that book was Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. I'm obsessed with this. I am obsessed. Like, I already want to reread it. I've also pre-ordered the second one, which is called Shadow Cabinet, I think, which comes out in June. So I may well reread this in May, but I think I'll do it via audiobook next time, because I've heard really good things about the audiobook. But I just loved this. I did not want to put it down. It was one of those books where it was making me grumpy about the fact that I had to go to work, because I just wanted to sit and read. So we're following a coven of witches, basically. We are in alternative UK, with this idea that the magic community, or the witchy community, is kind of running alongside what they call the mundanes, and we follow a group of witches, a coven of witches, and we get various different perspectives, as there is a vision of a cursed child. I don't think it's a cursed child, actually. There's another word for it. I can't remember what it is that they call the child, but anyway, there is this prophecy about a boy witch, a warlock, who is going to basically unleash a demon and bring an end to like the age of witches or something. And so we're following these different characters as they have different opinions and views on how to deal with this child. And I just thought it was fantastically done. As always with Juno Dawson, there's a whole range of different rep in here. And obviously I'm not own voices, I am cis, straight passing and white, so I would definitely say go and find some own voices. I'd really encourage you to go and listen to own voices reviews. Juno Dawson is a trans woman, so she is own voices for that part of the rep in here, but there's a whole range of voices and perspectives. I thought it was super interesting how the different opinions were dealt with, because one of the characters is a TERF, and I felt like that character was very much based on somebody in real life, a public figure that we're all aware of and have had more than enough from in recent years. And I thought that was handled so well, because there's a few conversations about being trans and what it means to be trans and why trans people need to be accepted and left alone to live their lives, and how, you know, trans women are women, trans men are men, non-binary people are who they say they are, which is obviously something I agree with and is correct. But the other side of the argument I felt like was dealt with really well. And yeah, this is a really great book for the story. Like, the story is fantastic, but there's also some really powerful messages in this, and I basically want to shove it into the hands of everybody I know. It is definitely adult. There is some very adult language in here. There are some sexy scenes in here, so it's definitely not YA, which is what she's written before. So yeah, it's definitely an adult book, but I loved it. And the ending, oh my gosh, I wanted to scream out loud at the ending, because nobody saw that coming. I mean, if you're telling me that you saw the ending coming, I'm like, well, are you an adept? Because I think you must have been to spot that one, because yeah. So good. Easy 5 stars. I loved it. I'm just annoyed that I left it so long to read it. If this is on your TBR, or if you're even vaguely interested, pick it up. It is so good. Juno Dawson is such a skilled writer. She's an auto buy for me anyway. I think the only thing that stopped me auto buying this at the time was the size, but actually if you look, I'll show you at the beginning so I don't show you any accidental spoilers. Like, the text is massive, so it's really not as big and chunky as it looks. But yeah, I cannot wait for the next one to come out. I can't wait. Like, anyway, so I finished reading that, and then I also had another 2 parcels arrive yesterday. Let's do this without showing my address on the internet. So we're going to open these. I've got no idea why I'm being so spoiled by you guys this week, but thank you. I massively appreciate it. Oh, sorry, I've just dropped it on the table and then that's moved the camera, because I'm a professional booktuber. Really not. So let's open this up together. Oh yes, this is a weird shape, this one. Oh, that's because it's gift wraps. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, is there a... No, there's no note or anything in there. Oh, it's attached to the thing. Look at this. Oh my gosh, I feel a bit tearful. Okay, I mean, 1, you guys never ever have to buy me stuff, ever. But 2, to gift wrap it as well, I feel like... Oh my gosh, thank you. Okay, let's see who this is from. Oh, it's from Ellen. She said, "Dear Victoria, you spread so much joy and positive vibes around. Thank you for being such a beautiful person and a glorious ray of sunshine." Sorry, it's printed slightly weirdly. "Keep shining and let the world envelope you with love, care and bliss." From Ellen. Thank you so much, Ellen. Oh my gosh, I'm definitely going to keep that note. Okay, now you can watch me struggle trying to get into this. I love these bags, but they are not the easiest things to open sometimes. Oh gosh, Ellen, that's such lovely, kind words. Let's see what we've got in here. It's a weird shape. Okay. Maybe it's not a weird shape. Maybe it's just the bag that's throwing me. Okay. What is this? Oh, it is a book. Huh. Exciting. Okay. Oh, yes! You Be Mother by Meg Mason. Yes. I've wanted to read this for a while. Yes, so a lady called Abby falls pregnant and then decides to start over in Sydney, but things are not quite as they seem when she arrives. So she gets pregnant by an Australian guy, decides to leave her life in London and start fresh in Australia. So she goes to move in with him and his family, and something's not quite right. So it says, if only Abby had not told Phil that teeny tiny small lie the very first day they met. So yeah, I'm really intrigued by this. Thank you so much, Ellen. That was a great choice. This cover though, I'm intrigued. I'm going to be reading that soon. And then let's open this one. See what's in here. Okay. Ooh, another book. How exciting. Okay, who's this from? Which lovely human? Oh, Charlene said, thank you for all your YouTube videos. They really do provide much needed escapism. That's so nice to know. I also blame you for my ever-growing TBR and candy kitten addiction. From Charlene. That's absolutely fine. I am comfortable with taking the blame for that. Oh, thank you. Let's see what she's picked. Oh, excellent choice, Charlene. She's gone with Problem Child, which is the second book after Jane Doe by Victoria Helen Stone. Yeah, this is carrying on the story, so I'm very excited to read this. I don't even really know what it's about, other than it's just another Jane Doe book, and I, as you've seen from this video, really enjoyed that. Maybe I'll be reading this soon. That's very exciting. Two great choices, and once again I have been completely and entirely spoiled by you guys, so thank you. And those were all the books that I read in the month of February. It's now the 4th of March, I think, and I'm coming in to wrap up the wrap up as usual, late as usual, but hey, there we go. I didn't finish any other books before the end of the month. I only had a couple of days, a day or so when I spoke to you last, and school got in the way as usual. So yeah, I haven't finished anything else, but I have got my trusty blue book so that I can do stats. Let's move it into the middle of the frame, shall we, like a real booktuber. I've got my trusty blue notebook so I can give you some stats, tell you about my favourite read, most disappointing read, all that kind of stuff, and then I'm going to wave goodbye and you can stop watching this already very long video. So in February I read 12 books, finished 12 books, which is great. I think I finished one more in January, 13 books, but obviously February is the shortest month of the year, so we're okay with this. I read 4,199 pages, which is 150 a day, which is great because 150 a day is what I need to hit my 50,000 pages in a year reading goal. So we're all on track for that. My average star rating was 4.41, so I had a really good reading month in terms of the quality as well as the quantity. Favourite book of the month, obviously, was this one, Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson, which over a week since I finished reading it, I'm still thinking about it. And I need the sequel, like now. Like, I need it. I need to know. I'm so invested. So yes, I absolutely loved this. You all told me that I would. I was sceptical. You were right. I should listen to you guys and just read what you tell me, because this was an absolute corker. I think it was the only 5 stars I gave, aside from the reread of Danny Brown. Let me just double check. Yes, it was my only 5-star read of the month that wasn't a reread, and for me rereads don't really count. So yes, this was incredible. And like I said, I think in the review clip, if you've got this on your TBR, pick it up and read it. If you haven't got it on your TBR, pick it up and read it. Oh, just so good. My most disappointing read of the month, I struggled with a bit because I gave out lots of 4.5 stars, as you saw. Ooh, now I'm dropping my beautiful blue notebook and bending the pages. Good work, Victoria. Yeah, my lowest rated book was Stay Awake, which was 3.5, but that wasn't my most disappointing because I went into that kind of knowing it was going to be like a 3.5 star thriller, you know, one of those that's like okay to read at the time but you probably forget about it later. So I had low expectations. So I've actually gone with Fingersmith as my most disappointing read of the month. I think it's because I loved Tipping the Velvet so much, one of my favourite reads of 2021, and this is in the same era and had a similar vibe, and I only gave it 4 stars. Did I give it 4 stars? yeah, I only gave it 4 stars, and I was a tiny bit bored in sections of this. So yeah, I think this is going to be my most disappointing read of the month, which is sad. I still gave it 4 stars, so take from that what you will. My brain is a weird place to be right now. Okay, my TBR stands at 41 books, so it's gone up because we finished January on 38 books. And in terms of balancing the books, I had 16 books go out, so either as I read 12 books and then I DNF'd 4 others, and I hauled in 18 books this month, which is a lot. Mostly because obviously I went off gallivanting to Bath and just let myself buy whatever I wanted. And you guys were super lovely and generous and kind to me this month. So I've hauled in 2 more books than I read. However, we're not quite in the danger zone yet, because in January, I think I had 9. Yeah, so in January I read 9 more than I hauled. So we're still on 7 for over the year. Read over than hauled, so we're okay. And also the TBR is still under 50 at 41, so we're fine. I'm not unhauling anything, I'm not doing any penalties just yet, but it is something that I'm kind of keeping my eye on in March. So that's the wrap up for this month. Can you tell that I'm a bit not in the mood for filming this morning, which is a problem because I'm now going to film as much of my March content as I can. So hopefully something will click in my brain in a minute and I'll get into gear. But thank you if you have watched to the end of this incredibly long video, as it always is with my wrap-ups. Thank you so much for being here. In terms of emojis, let's have some super bright pink emojis of your choice, because this is an incredibly pink book. I also read Bunny this month, which is one of also like the same shade of pink, I think. It's really like bright violent pink. So leave me your favourite pink emojis, whatever you like, in the comments. Just let me know you got to this point. Please subscribe if you would like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everyone. Bye.